Alright, good afternoon everybody. It's your boy Keen and welcome to today's vlog. Here to give you a preview of week 7 of the 2015 college football season. Now tonight is going to be an exciting matchup in the Pac-12 conference between number 18 UCLA at number 15 Stanford. Now the Cardinal defense has been doing a great job against the pass this season, and Josh Rosen is going to be due for awakening against this great defense of the quarterback for UCLA. This is going to be an interesting matchup, and I think the ground attack for UCLA is definitely going to have to step it up in this matchup. Paul Perkins, who's been a little bit of a silent player this season, I think he needs to have a great game in order for UCLA to have a chance of winning this matchup. But because of the fact that it is at Stanford, they had the home field advantage, and the Cardinals defense has been doing great, like I said, against the pass. Even though they lost in the first week against Northwestern didn't really do too well passing the football. I'm going to have to go with Stanford in this one over UCLA. Next up, number 2, Baylor's going to be hosting West Virginia. Now, the Mountaineers has actually had me a little bit disappointed, especially with their performance in the last 2 weeks. They got crushed by Oklahoma and then lost last week to Oklahoma State. I think this is going to be a third straight loss. I'm going to go with the Baylor Bears. Seth Russell should have another great game with Corey Coleman as his leading target at receiver. Next up in the Big Ten Conference, number 17, Iowa is going to be traveling to number 20, Northwestern. Now, Northwestern did suffer their first defeat last week in a shutout loss at Ann Arbor to the Michigan Wolverines. I think they're going to lose this matchup as well. Jordan Kanzeri, the running back for Iowa, had a great game against Wisconsin, rushed for over 200 yards in that matchup. I think that this Iowa team doesn't have any great, big, sexy players, but they do work well as a unit on both sides of the field, particularly on the defensive side. They do a great job stopping the run, and I think they're going to do the same against Northwestern, and I have to go with the Hawkeyes over the Wildcats. Next up could be an upset alert as Memphis, an undefeated Memphis Tiger team, is going to be hosting number 13 Ole Miss. Now, the Rebels did lose at the Swamp a couple weeks ago, and I think this is going to be a close loss in this one as well. But I'm going to actually stick with the Rebels in this matchup. I think they're going to get their ground attack together. Chad Kelly is still a great quarterback, and let's not forget about Robert Kendichi and that defense. Despite the fact that they struggled against Florida's offense, and Memphis does have a great offense led by quarterback Paxton Lynch. Lynch has been doing a great job throwing the football, as well as sometimes give you some tough yardage on the ground, but he is a pass-first quarterback, a good arm quarterback. I think this could be an upset alert, but I'm still going to go with the Rebels in this one, and I think at least a 14-point victory. Next up, Louisiana Tech, who is 4-2, is going to be traveling to face another Bulldog team, Mississippi State. Now, La Tech actually has an outstanding running back in Kenneth Dixon, who is actually on a lot of people's watch list as one of the top running backs for the 2016 NFL Draft. But I'm going to go with Mississippi State in this one. Look out for Dak Preston to have a good matchup over Jeff Driscoll. Next up, number 19 OU is going to be traveling to Manhattan to face the Kansas State Wildcats. Now, last week, which was a big shocker for me, as the Oklahoma Sooners lost to my Texas Longhorns and the Red River rivalry, I think they're going to look to rebound in this matchup over K-State. I'm going to go with the Sooners in this game. Next up, number 10 Alabama is going to be traveling to College Station to face number 9 Texas A&M. Now, this was a huge nominee for my game of the week, but we actually already have seen Alabama as my game of the week in the game matchup against Ole Miss. Now I have to give another team another opportunity to get that game of the week this upcoming week, and it's still in the SEC conference. I'll let you guys know in just a couple of seconds. In this matchup, I'm actually going to go with the Crimson Tide in this one. It's because they do a great job on both sides of the field, offensive line and defensive line. I think as far as the offensive line, Alabama does have a little bit of an edge over Texas A&M's offensive line, but this is going to be a great matchup because we all know about Myles Garrett. He is a great pass rusher, and he's going to be playing against a tough offensive line from the Crimson Tide. I think this is going to be a close game. I really want Texas A&M to win this matchup, but I have to go with the Tide in this one. I think they're going to try to stay. They will stay alive in the SEC West Division. Next up, USC is going to be traveling to South Bend to face number 14 Notre Dame. Now, the Trojans actually had a surprising loss last week at home against Washington, and head coach Steve Sarkisian has actually been fired after the fact that he actually decided to step down for just a second to recover from what he's been dealing with, alcoholism and other personal issues. But Pat Hayden, the athletic director for USC, decided to fire him pretty much the next day, and this is a tough loss for USC, so I have to have pretty much a new coach to step it up. And this is going to be an interesting matchup, but I'm going to have to go with the Fighting Irish in this one because their team is still together and they do have the home field advantage. Next up, Georgia's going to be hosting Missouri. Last season, Nick Chubb ran all over the Tigers, but Nick Chubb is out for the remainder of the year with a tear ligament in his knee, and Sony Michael's going to have to step it up as a second string running back. I think he's a great replacement for Nick Chubb. I still think that ground attack for Georgia is still dangerous. Michelle did rush for over 100 yards last week at Knoxville in their loss against the Tennessee Volunteers. I think they're going to come back after 2 back-to-back losses. I don't think it's going to be 3 straight for the Bulldogs. I'm going to have to go with UGA over Missouri. Next up, another upset big and my upset pick of the week, as Penn State's going to be traveling to Columbus to face #1 Ohio State. Now, Penn State actually had their first defeat in the first week of the season, but they rebounded. They've been looking good on both sides of the field, and I think they're going to give a big test for Ohio State. Ohio State's been struggling a lot this season with close victories over Indiana as well as Northern Illinois. I think that the Nittany Lions can pull off this upset at Columbus. And let's not forget about last week against the Maryland Terrapins. The Terrapins actually gave them a run for their money in the first half of the game until Ohio State decided to pull away in the second half of the matchup. This is going to be a good matchup, and Christian Hackenberg could definitely rise his draft status if he has a good performance against a tough Buckeye defense led by Joey Bosa, the Defensive Player of the Year winner last season. I'm going to have to go with Penn State Nittany Lions to come with an upset over and at Ohio State. Next up, ASU, Arizona State is going to be traveling to Utah to face the Utes, who is ranked 4th in the country. I'm kind of starting to understand why they're ranked in the top 5. I'm still a little bit shocked, but at the same time, this is a team I have to start respecting. They actually have a good defense, in my opinion. They don't have, like I said, any big numbers on the defensive unit, but they do work together as a team, and I think they're very good, disciplined. They do play hard-nosed football, and Kyle Whittingham's been doing a great job as a head coach, and I've been saying that many times. He is a great head coach, actually lifting Utah, and I think this is going to be a good game for the Utes. ASU can pull off the upset like they did against UCLA, but I don't think it's going to happen at Utah. I'm going to have to go with the Utes over the Sun Devils. Lastly, the game of the week, as number 8 Florida is going to be traveling to Baton Rouge to face number 6 LSU. Now, Florida's actually been coming up with big news this past week with Will Greer, their quarterback, tested positive for PEDs, and this is a big loss for Florida. This is going to be an interesting battle, and we all know that LSU is more of a running team, and they depend on running the football with Leonard Fournette leading the way at running back. This is going to be a tough one with this one, but I'm actually going to have to go with the Tigers in this game, not because they have the home field advantage. I think even though that Florida's been doing a great job against the run, I think that because the fact that LSU does pound the rock well and such a great athleticism from running back Leonard Fournette, I think it's going to be just enough to control the clock and win this matchup and win this game because of the run and controlling the clock a little bit better, keeping the offense for Florida off the field. And let's not sleep on LSU defense. They've been doing a pretty good job this year, but Brandon Harris is just going to have to start passing the ball a little bit effectively. He does have some good receivers around him, but he needs to do a better job throwing the football accurately against Florida just to help things out with the ground attack. We all know that LSU is going to run the football a lot more than passing, and they're going to depend on running the football, but Brandon Harris is going to have to do a better job passing just to draw confusion to the defense for Florida. But I'm going to have to go with LSU in this matchup. This should be a good SEC showdown between the SEC East team and SEC West team for LSU. This is going to be a good game, but I have to go with LSU over Florida. Now, the next time I catch you guys will actually be Sunday morning, where I will give you a recap of this week. Thank you for watching this vlog. I'm your man, Akeem McCall. Be easy.